Y'all come on in and find a seat. Everybody, y'all come in and find a seat. We want to go ahead and get started so we're on time. Hi, family. Let's get in the room and sit down so we can enjoy some of the cooler air. Okay. 1 minute warning. Oxford House staff, I need the folks in the room. Let's start shutting the two of the doors. And we're back. Are you all having a good time this afternoon? I learned a lot of stuff this morning. Okay, I'm Kathleen. I'm a woman in long-term recovery. I'm going to ask you to take a seat, please. We will not be giving out any director's awards if you can't sit in your seats. Okay, I have a few, and I see a whole group of people over here not sitting in their seats. Brandy, get everybody to sit in their seat. All right. Everybody sitting? Clap your hands once if you hear me. Clap your hands twice if you hear me. Okay. So I'm going to bring Lori up here, who's going to introduce our next speaker. Before that, I'm going to make a small announcement. There is a water leak in the hotel because, you know, we at Oxford House don't go anywhere without having some excitement. 2 years ago in Seattle, we had a fire drill and we were on the 7th floor, I think. So it's very important that we sit still. We don't want to miss our next speaker. I'm going to bring Lori up here, and she's going to introduce our next speaker, and I'm going to come back there and make sure people are getting in their seat. Thank you, Kathleen.
All right, guys, y'all come on in and sit down. My name's Lori, and I'm a woman in long-term recovery. And I am the Director of National Field Services for Oxford House Incorporated. I'm going to introduce our next speaker. Kevin A. Sabat, PhD, is the President and CEO of Smart Approaches to Marijuana. Y'all come on in, sit down and be quiet. Everybody hush, bring it down, use your inside voice. An affiliate of the Institution for Social and Policy Studies and the Medical School at Yale University, and dubbed by NBC News as the prodigy of drug politics, and by Salon as the quarterback of the new anti-drug movement, author, consultant, and advisor to 3 U.S. presidential administrations, Kevin A. Sabat, PhD, has studied, researched, written about, and implemented drug policy for over 25 years. He is the only person appointed by Republicans and Democrats to work at the White House Drug Office. Kevin is currently the president and CEO of the Foundation for Drug Policy Solutions, FDPS, and SAM, Smart Approaches to Marijuana, 2 nonprofit organizations he founded with Congressman Patrick Kennedy. His latest book, Smokescreen: What the Marijuana Industry Doesn't Want You to Know, distributed by Simon & Schuster, won the Next Generation Indie Book Award in the Social Justice category and has been optioned for a documentary film. His upcoming book, One Nation Under the Influence, will be published by Polity in 2025. He regularly publishes op-eds, and his work has been seen in the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, and other publications. He is also a regular columnist for Newsweek. He received his doctorate and master's degree from Oxford University and BA from the University of California, Berkeley. Kevin A. Sabat.
It's getting hot in here, right? But it's not because the AC is down, it's because the electricity from all of you. So thank you for being here. You know, I am honored to be here. My name is Kevin Sabat. I'm not in long-term recovery, but I'm honored to fight for your long-term recovery. So thank you for giving me that honor. Thank you so much for giving me that honor. And unfortunately, I have to say today, your long-term recovery and this country's ability to come back from what's the worst drug epidemic in our history is under threat right now by people who see money, profit, justifying their own behavior, and are trying to tell us that nothing works. You all are thousands and thousands of examples of what actually does work. So thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. So it is a total privilege to be with you. Come on in. We're a hot and cozy, big, rowdy bunch, but that's why we're the post-lunch bunch, which is always the best. You know, addiction is the only disease that we know of where you're a much better person after you had it than before you had it. So thank you so much. It's the only one. It's the only one. And that was taught to me by the great Bob DuPont, the founding director of the National Institute on Drug Abuse. Let's give him a round of applause. A big friend of Paul Malloy, your incredible founder, who was a good friend of mine. We miss Paul every day. But we are under threat by people who tell us that recovery doesn't work. They tell us that there's nothing that does work, and so we just have to put our hands in the air and figure out safe ways to use drugs. It's like saying a safe way to jump out of the 8th story window. Folks, there's no safe way to use drugs. But recovery is real, and that's why we're here today. We're here The organization I helped found, Foundation for Drug Policy Solutions, a few years ago. Before that, Smart Approaches to Marijuana, which is still going strong. And by the way, the smart approach to marijuana is not to use it, just FYI. But the reality is we have a massive, profitable lobby that sees dollar signs that said all of a sudden cares about social justice. They never cared about social justice before. But then it became convenient to do that because it meant that they could pass policies to commercialize. This isn't about decriminalize. I don't think people should be going to prison for an addiction. Of course not. But it's not about decriminalize. It's about profiting, commercializing, and normalizing marijuana, psychedelics now, because that's the new thing that's going to cure all of you, by the way. If you didn't hear, go trip on some acid. I guess it's supposed to help you. That's what we're told. But it doesn't stop with psychedelics either, folks. It is about the legalization and not just the legalization, not just we'll kind of look the other way, sort of what we do now in many ways, but it's not that. It's the promotion, the commercialization, the normalization of addiction in our society by people who stand to make a ton of money, because guess which two addiction industries make the most money? They happen to be the legal ones. They happen to be the ones that are promoted by our politicians. I don't care if you're from the left or the right, that own Washington, D.C. You know, we haven't had an increase in alcohol tax in this country adjusted for inflation since the Korean War. Can anybody tell me when the Korean War was even in this crowd? You're all like, yeah, smart. There was one person over 50. The rest of you were young. But the point is, there's a reason for that. It's because these companies stand to make a ton of money. The tobacco industry still kills 450,000 people a year. Even when we have made it very hard to smoke. We've made it rightfully very hard to use these drugs in some ways. But these companies are still laughing all the way to the bank, and marijuana's next. But we've been told that we have to adopt this very seductive concept, which actually does have some good parts, by the way, but this very seductive concept called harm reduction. Now, what is harm reduction? Well, it depends on how you define it. We talked this morning with Tom Coderre, my friends here from SAMHSA, Nazadad, and Barbara from Washington, about actually good kinds of harm reduction. We absolutely want naloxone. Of course we do. There should be much wider adoption of it. We absolutely know there are different paths to recovery. Absolutely. The human condition is too diverse to imagine there's just one way to go. So we understand that. And if we define it like that, and we define it as the life-saving medication, if we define it as meeting people where they're at, I understand that. But folks, we have to meet people where they're at, but never leave them where they're at. And, you know, that is exactly what we're actually told to do. Meet people where they're at and just wait for them to tell us when they're ready to get help. Folks, we're going to be waiting a very long time if we're going to do that. This is very pleasurable. Addiction hijacks the pleasure centers of the brain. Why would you want to stop? Unless there is some kind of external pressure. I don't mean 20 years in prison. That's not what we don't want to go overboard. I'm not saying go back to 1972. No one is saying that. But how can we create the systems in society and for our leaders to denormalize this? Because it is not normal for a community to have to live with public use, with tripping over people on fentanyl, whether it's from where I live part of the year in Vancouver or where I used to live in San Francisco, where I live now in New York City. That's an inhumane way. There's nothing humane about just meeting somebody in that desperate situation, meeting them where they're at and leaving them there. That is not compassion. That is not reducing any kind of harm. And so we know that harm reduction has emerged as a response to this crisis, of course. And again, rightfully so, there are interventions that can be helpful. But let me just tell you, we have to ask the more important question is, okay, naloxone, then what? Then what? Needle exchange, then what? You know, We are not equipped. We have not set it up in this country to answer that question. And yes, we should pat ourselves on the back. We've seen a slight reduction in overdose deaths. But folks, 110 overdose deaths in this country, and by the way, a huge increase on the West Coast, they didn't get a decrease, is nothing to brag about. It is the worst crisis in our history. It's 3 times the historical average of our country, 4 times what's going on in Europe, much more than what's going on in the Southern Hemisphere. It's nothing to be happy or content about. We need to start normalizing getting help and make it easier to get drug treatment and easier to get sober than it is to get drugs in our communities. And we haven't done that. We haven't done that. So, as Patrick and I say, we got to meet people where they are but not leave them there. That's it. Whether we need to bring them somewhere better. But we can't just wait for people. You know, waiting lists for drug treatment in this country, it's still an embarrassingly big problem for a rich country like ours. There's no doubt about it. But the bigger problem isn't so much waiting lists, it's waiting for people to realize they have a problem. And so how do we get our fellow human beings on that path to recovery? Because everyone and anybody can recover. We know that. We know that. But we're told that for some people they can't, and we simply have to reduce the risk of this inherently risky activity. It sounds a little bit like, you know, you can punch somebody and get into a fight as long as you have boxing gloves on. We'll make it a little bit safer, but go ahead, whack me in the head. No. This is an inherently dangerous activity, and of course, there are people that will actually do okay for a long time with this dangerous activity, just like, you know, we all know somebody, I'm sure nobody in this room has ever sped on the freeway before, ever. But because probably, let's be honest, every single one of you has, including myself, because of that, that doesn't mean that we get rid of speed limits. It doesn't mean that we encourage speeding because we've been able to do it, or occasionally we've been able to do it, or we know someone that does it regularly. That doesn't mean we get rid of speed limits. So the point is, yes, there are people that say, well, I'm a functional heroin addict. Folks, that's a complete oxymoron. No, you're not. You're letting down your family. You're letting down yourself. You're letting down your community. You're letting down your kids. You're letting down your siblings. You're letting down your employer. You're letting down society because you're not doing what we do in recovery, which is live a life worth living, a life beyond our wildest dreams. It is not enough to reverse somebody's overdose 15 times in a year and put them back in the situation they were just in. That's not a life worth living. 10 to 15% of people who will be reversed on naloxone this year will die. So we're not doing them any favors by simply leaving them and waiting for them to tell us when they are ready. Ideally, yes, of course we want them to be ready, absolutely. But sometimes we gotta nudge them there, we gotta get them there. But what's happened is this idea of harm reduction, that if we can make drug use a little bit safer, this is an idea that has unfortunately taken hold and I think is absolutely threatening our recovery. And it's really about the legalization of all drugs. In fact, the founder of this term even said once that AIDS is a black blessing. It's a blessing, but it's not a good blessing. But it's a blessing. That's what he said, because it helps us move forward. Any step towards harm reduction by this government is a move closer to legalization. That's what the proponents of this whole term, people who invented the advocacy side of this term, that's what they said 30 years ago. So we have groups like the biggest groups like the Drug Policy Alliance that are out there promoting this idea that drug use is a bodily autonomy issue. Folks, when you have let down your kids, your employer, your family, your friends, yourself, your own soul, I'm sorry, it's not a bodily autonomy issue. It's an issue for all of us. That's why we care about one another. So look, it's harm reduction, there's a place for it, but it has to be a means to an end. What is the end? Recovery. That's the end. That's where we bring people. The end is not just come in and here's a safe place to use drugs and, we're going to give you a safe place. You can come in and out as you wish. That's not an end, because that's not a life worth living. So yes, obviously naloxone. People ask me, what about these testing strips? I mean, they don't work all of the time. I think they give people a false sense of security. And most of all, the idea that when you are using all of the time, you're going to be like rationally thinking about, okay, how do I use safely? And let me get my fentanyl testing strip and test to see. I mean, I hear all the laughs in the audience. People are trying to apply some like rational responses to something that takes over your brain and hijacks your brain and makes you do irrational things. So yes, in a perfect world, I am waiting in between 9 and 5 when the needle exchange or the harm reduction center is open, and I'm going in and I'm exchanging one needle and I'm testing every single thing. Folks, is that what's actually happening in the real world? Of course not. So yeah, great. If there's a 16-year-old out there who's gonna take a pill anyway and they wanna test it, of course, great, do it. But don't have the false sense of security that because your drug is somehow pure and not adulterated, that it's okay. Because lest I forget, before anyone knew what fentanyl was, we had a really bad drug problem in this country. This didn't just emerge. And lest we forget, those that are unfortunately dealing with overdose, folks, the vast majority of them are not just using one drug. It's polysubstance abuse. It's a lot of things going on, and it's mental health issues that have to be addressed. It's a hard problem to address. Of course it is, it's complex. But we have to have the courage to do that, as opposed to just put our hands in the air and say, here's a clean needle, here's a clean crack pipe, good luck, let us know, if you overdose, we're right here for you. Use together, don't use alone, and we'll see you later. That's not hope. That's not recovery. That's not a life worth living. We have to change that. So where are we right now? Well, where we are is a lot of states and places that have done things that are actually making our problem a lot worse. Who do we got from Oregon in the audience? Woo, awesome, a huge contingent. So I take it like Measure 110, A+, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Not really. What was Measure 110? It was touted as a drug treatment act. It was called the Decriminalization and Drug Treatment Act, something like that. How much treatment did it give? Basically none, right? And we were told that people won't be going to prison anymore in Oregon. How many people were going to prison for low levels of drugs in Oregon before this anyway? A few. There you go. We got 2 people out of the whole contingent. And that's not good. We don't want that, but we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So yes, let's reform criminal justice, absolutely. We don't want long sentences. We want people to have treatment. We don't want them to have to go to the criminal justice system in order to get help. Of course not. But when 70% of people are in the criminal justice system, not on a drug offense, but on a non-drug offense, but 70% of those people have a drug problem, then that tells us that's an incredible opportunity to do some intervention. And we're not doing that right now. And in Oregon, they learned the hard way. Voters were deceived by the Drug Policy Alliance, I'm just going to call it out, by millions and millions of dollars thrown at the state saying this is about drug treatment. And what happened 3 years later? They repealed it. One of the most liberal legislatures and governors in the country repealed it because of how badly it was going. And where I partly live in Canada some of the year, they think the answer to fentanyl, Vancouver, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, has a problem 50% higher than the US as a whole in terms of overdoses. It's the capital in the Western Hemisphere for overdose. And so what did they say? Well, by the way, they're also the city with the longest running injection site in the world. I don't think that's a coincidence. They're also the city, one of the first cities in the world that said, all right, well, what we're going to do if you're using drugs is we're going to give you a prescription for hydromorphone and OxyContin. How do you think that's gone? They've had an increase, a 50% increase since then. Why? Because users are selling that on the street to get that money to buy fentanyl. They want fentanyl. This is why this idea of like, if we just have testing strips, we'll be done. Well, no, because half the people testing are gonna actually want fentanyl. They're not using it as a deterrent. Your brain is, as Bob DuPont once said, is selfish. Your brain is the most selfish organ in your body. It's telling you something you know you should not be doing. But it's a very, very strong pull. And now this whole push to legalize psychedelics. So we can look at 3 places. Like I said, British Columbia, they had 4 pillars of drug policy 20 years ago. They said they're going to do prevention, treatment, harm reduction, and enforcement. The reality is they've done 1 pillar. The only pillar, harm reduction, and extreme harm reduction. That's what I call extreme harm reduction, giving pills out under the so-called safe supply. And their drug death numbers are nothing to be proud about. They've been increasing almost every year. So the point is, we know what works, and actually we know what doesn't. And here's the overdose deaths higher than Canada as a whole in BC. By the way, we need some Oxford houses in British Columbia. What do you think? Come on. Overdose capital of the world. We need you all. Let's do it. I actually talked to your leadership earlier. We're going to get on a call later this month and figure it out. All right? Should we do that? Because this line, where BC is higher than the US, higher than countries in the Middle East, higher than Scandinavia, higher than Europe, Central Europe, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, this is nothing to be proud of. And this is the model city for extreme harm reduction. Very sad tale, because it's a gorgeous place. Probably the most beautiful city in North America, actually, if you've ever been there. You know, a city with mountains, with a beach, with an old growth forest, all in the same place. But also, people, as somebody told me, as the chief of one of the biggest First Nations in the area told me, you walk down the street from those multi-million-dollar apartments, you walk down to the downtown east side, where you see thousands of people that this is not humane. There's nothing compassionate about what you see when you go down there. They told me it's the largest reservation in the world, Kevin, right there. And we know it's always the people with less in society that are hurt the most. So we owe it to them and ourselves to change these policies everywhere, whether we live there, whether we don't. But it's not only the individual that's affected. This is my other issue with harm reduction. Because the next question is to ask, what about harm reduction for the family? What about harm reduction for the community? You know, for every single person that's affected by overdose, imagine the people, the family that they are affecting, that they are leaving behind, that they are letting down, that they are hurting and destroying. The children, the minors that are completely innocent. We don't talk about that because we're so focused almost selfishly on that individual only. This is a problem that spans so much more than the individual. And so they are now realizing, because guess what else that British Columbia did 2 years ago, by the way? They followed what Oregon did. They decriminalized all drugs. And a year and a half later, that same government that got the permission, see, they're very polite in Canada. They get permission from the government to do it. I mean, here it's like, Florida, we're going to legalize weed. We don't care what the feds say. In Canada, they're very polite. So they got permission. They literally got permission. They asked and they got the permission in a letter, can we decriminalize drugs? Because the extreme harm reduction and profitable forces, and it's very profitable, by the way. The former health officer there opened an opioid company producing these pills that they're selling, by the way. It's very, very profitable to do this. This isn't just, some people it's like what they truly believe, and I respect that, but for a lot of these people it's not. It is about money. So they got permission to do it. The numbers got so much worse. The public had such a backlash against what was happening that same government a year and a half later reversed it. So they don't have the decriminalization of drugs anymore, and I'm very happy about that. But there's still so much more to do. But by the way, that brings up another point, and this is a point directly for Oxford houses and those that are, all of you, leadership in Oxford houses in your community. You know, when we allow some of these more extreme policies to bubble up in public, we have a hard enough time having the public understand that addiction is a disease, that, you know, you're still a real person that deserves help and care when you have a substance use disorder. We have a hard enough time convincing the general public about that, right? But when you start with some of these extreme policies that make the problem worse and make it more public, guess what? The public and politicians, they're going to turn all against you. They're going to lump you right in with the rest of them because they're not understanding the nuances. They're not understanding what, recovery is versus someone who says they're in, there's California sober, which is someone, right? Which, another oxymoron, sorry. California, my home state, sorry guys. No such thing as California sober. That's not sober. But the point is, it gives a bad name to all the good work you're doing. And that's another, we don't talk about that enough, but that's another key point when it comes to that. It got so bad in British Columbia that they were allowing crack to be smoked openly in hospitals. That's real. And some people, literally professionals whose whole life has been in public health, said this was okay. Because they're under this, spell that you can use drugs safely, and as long as it's in a controlled environment, therefore it's okay. And obviously it's not. So that's a huge issue. Portugal is very misunderstood. How many of you heard about the Portuguese drug policy experiment? Most of you, yeah. So in Portugal, they're still trying to figure it out. They're very humble, actually, with what they're doing. One thing they did not do is legalize drugs, which is a big misnomer. They basically created a commission that if you are using, you go to, and they determine whether you need help or not, and refer you to treatment. That's what they did. It's actually pretty paternalistic if you think about it, because if you don't show up for that commission, you will actually be arrested and put in jail, which nobody ever talks about. They didn't legalize drugs. And by the way, they've had mixed success. It was once a model for progressive drug policy. Now the Washington Post says Portugal's having its doubts. They're figuring it out. And I commend them for trying to figure it out and trying to correct it. But what unfortunately happened in this country, especially in Oregon, is that we said, let's be like Portugal, forgetting about the culture, forgetting that Portugal is a country of 6 million Catholics, pretty anti-drug culture. We're not. We're a pretty pro-drug culture. As David Musto, if you want to read the best historian of drug policy, look up David Musto. He called it the American disease. Because throughout time, from our founding, we've been the ones with the issues. And so our culture is very different. So what they did in Oregon is, let's try and implement what they did in Portugal over here in Oregon, and we'll be the utopia for drug policy. And so people with bad intentions, though, ran with that, and that's what happened when they passed drug decriminalization. Nobody got treatment. More people died. There's a lot of outcomes. I'll leave this all with you if you're interested in these slides. But overdose deaths skyrocketed, and they're one of the only states in the country that when the CDC announced the reduction in overdoses last week, Oregon and Washington, which had a similar, sort of similar policy, they were two of the very few states that actually saw increases in overdose. Now, there are probably a lot of reasons for that. I don't think it's only policy. There's probably something having to do with them getting fentanyl later in the cycle than, say, those in the East Coast or the Midwest. But the point is, these policies were supposed to reduce overdoses, actually. They were supposed to get people to not be stigmatized so that they can go to treatment, but nobody went to treatment. We saw crime go up. They did not follow the Portuguese model at all. We did a comparison of the specifics of the Portuguese model versus Oregon. They didn't do that. And then so all of a sudden, the public turned against any kind of reform. The public said, you know what, we do want to go back to lock them up. They actually used the term recriminalization in polling. And when they did that, I thought, okay, no one's going to, it's going to be 20% support for recriminalization. That is 1988 called and they want their word back, right? But actually 70-some% of Oregonians, not Texans, all due respect, not Alabamans, all due respect, Oregonians, like Portlandia. Woo, yeah, right, okay. 70-some% of those folks, by the way, majority non-white, said, we do want to recriminalize drugs because of how bad it's gone. Which is obviously, that's not a good move. We don't want people to go to prison for using drugs, but this backlash is what happens when these more extreme policies are embraced. So it was repealed. The legislature and the governor just quickly repealed it because it was about to be on the ballot and it was going to be repealed by a, long shot. It was going to be repealed by a lot, and it didn't. So where do we go with the road ahead? first of all, we have to talk about prevention, folks, and we don't talk about that enough. And I know you're dealing with further down the continuum, but you're leaders in your community in drug policy, whether you know it or not, because you're here today. Thank you. You are leaders. And a couple things that you know or should know is, first of all, if you don't touch drugs until 21, you are unlikely ever to be an addict. 95% of the people who do not initiate drug use won't ever do so if they didn't do it by age 21. So we have to delay as much as possible. We need to spend money on what you all are doing because it saves in social costs. And yeah, there is room for law enforcement. There's a productive role for law enforcement to protect public safety. Law enforcement actually increases the price by reducing the supply, utilizing drug courts. Drug courts, how many of you are familiar with drug courts? Yeah, all right. How many of you went through a drug court or something similar? Look at that, look at this numbers. Right. How many of you think you would be here today if it wasn't for that drug court? A couple people, okay. But about 5% of the people who raised their hand from drug court. Because we needed that nudge from a judge, right? And that is the kind of model, along with Oxford House, that we should be embedding into the system of our laws and politics and society in our country. They should not be little boutique programs. I mean, Oxford House, we need this room to be 10 times bigger. As big as it is, it's huge. But we need it to be bigger. We need the drug courts to be bigger. We need it to be more systematized, not just because there happens to be this charismatic person in the community that opens an Oxford House, or charismatic judge that says, I want to do this, and I'm going to have 20 people at a time. That's great. That's awesome. But we need to take this to scale. So, is there room for harm reduction? Of course. But it's got to be the right kind, and we have to balance it with also just reducing drug use generally as well. And the solutions are all interchangeable. Now, I'm going to transition quickly, and I do want to take questions, and I'm not sure if there's a mic around. But I do want to transition quickly to this false dichotomy that we've been told, especially when it comes to marijuana. I want to talk about marijuana for a minute. It's something that very few people want to talk about, actually. I hate to say it. It's kind of this elephant in the room. It's here to stay. What can we do about it? Nothing. It's not killing people. I mean, you hear it on and on. It's safer than alcohol. That's one of these things about safer than alcohol I think is pretty funny, because some people say, well, alcohol's legal, Kevin, so why shouldn't weed be just legal too? Folks, that's like saying my headlights are broken and I'm just going to bash in my taillights just to be consistent. There is nothing about alcohol policy we should be proud of. Advertisements everywhere, massive promotion, commercialization, cheapest prices of liquor in our history. And so people say, well, are you a prohibitionist? Well, no, because alcohol's been used by 70% of Western civilization for 5,000 years. Can't go back in time to before Abraham. Wish I could. My middle name is actually Abraham, but I can't. And so we are kind of stuck with it. Yes, cannabis was used for thousands of years too, but two little footnotes that are kind of important. Number one, not by 70% of Western civilization, maybe by 2%. Number two, not the stuff they're using today. Not the stuff they're using today at all. Not 99% THC waxes, concentrates, shatter, gummy bears, popsicles, lollipops. I'm sorry. Pablo Escobar and the Mexican drug dealers are bad folks, but they did not invent the marijuana gummy bear. Good old American capitalism and innovation did. And that was specifically allowed because our government taking money, blood money, that they call tax revenue, which is a drop in the bucket. You heard a guy from Colorado saying we can't even find a free place for someone to go get help. Well, why not? You should have had money falling from the sky, we were told, when you legalized weed. What happened? Of course you don't. Because it's a tiny amount and it gets reappropriated. It doesn't come back to the community to help. Just like for every dollar in alcohol revenue, it costs us 15 in social costs. For every dollar in tobacco, it costs us 13 in social costs. We don't make money when we commercialize really bad behavior. We lose. We lose. And so, let me make myself clear. I'm not talking about removing criminal penalties for people who use or used in the past. And I would expunge all those records today, all of them. But that is very different than a weed store across the street from your kid's daycare, advertised on television, in billboards, using athletes, using celebrities, using every trick in the book that Big Tobacco used in our country for 100 years to make us the biggest addicted nation in the world as a result of what they did. That's very different than criminalization. It's also very different. What about medical marijuana? Well, okay, medical marijuana, okay, I understand. 4th stage cancer, using it for nausea, using FDA-approved medication, that's cool. But don't come to me with a headache and a hangnail and say you need medical marijuana. I had to say it. So, legitimate medical, no problem. But it's about 2% that's legitimate, I hate to tell you. And the rest of it is what some people call medical excuse marijuana. So let's call it for what it is, and let's separate these issues. I'm not conflating them. I don't want to go back to criminalization. I'm not saying that. But when you have President Trump, Surgeon General, President Obama, and President Biden, Surgeon General, saying the same thing, maybe we should listen. Maybe we should listen as a society. Because I know that in 50 years, 50, 60, 80, but at some point in the future, we're gonna look back at this time, what we're doing to commercialize drugs, and right now it's marijuana and psychedelics. We're gonna look back at this time and say, what were we thinking? 99% THC, no limits in any state, full reign of advertising, because guess what? Commercial speech is free speech. That's what the Supreme Court said. That's why you get all those awesome Bud commercials when you're trying to watch the Super Bowl with your family or whatever. Commercial speech is free speech. But because of that, we've unleashed commercialization. Read, of all things, the New York Times today, please. And the New York Times, last time I checked, isn't exactly something that's on Newsmax or Fox News, okay? What I mean is centrist, progressive publication. Read it. The lead article is that all the scientists, we work with most of them in that article, saying we are making a huge mistake by commercializing, legalizing, and promoting the use of THC in this country. So it's time we get up and start listening to these folks. The industry is there to make money. They just had one of their documents leak. They said they're all about how to create a monopoly. In this state, you're gonna be, who's from Florida? Who's actually from Florida? All right. So you're responsible for like 95 degrees, no AC and all that. Okay, I get it. But you will be voting on the most consequential, and I know people are gonna argue what the most consequential thing is. From our perspective, I think the Amendment 3 is your most consequential thing you're gonna be voting on. Because what would happen if Amendment 3 passes, which they've already spent $80 million on it? By the way, but when I say they, I mean one company, folks. One company. Because they plan to create a monopoly to make all the money and sell weed openly. Already Big Tobacco is invested. Of course they are. They need other product lines, folks. Philip Morris, Altria, Imperial, all the biggest tobacco brands in the country. So Big Tobacco is Big Marijuana now, same players, slightly different marketing. Alcohol's in on the game, of course they are. You know, fewer young people like alcohol than they did 40 years ago. They need alternative product lines. So they're trying to promote this as the health and wellness thing, but in reality, they're also bringing us back to the bad old days of the 60s and 70s when we couldn't even breathe inside meetings, malls, airplanes, daycares, schools, because they're now starting to allow marijuana in restaurants. California, where are my California brothers and sisters where I'm from? All right, there's my state. Unfortunately, what just happened 2 days ago was your lawmakers passed something that's now going to allow smoking in restaurants for the first time since the 70s. Yeah, I know, that's what I said. What? Because the pot lobby wrote a law that said we want to create cannabis cafes like those people in Amsterdam. Folks, The people in Amsterdam are looking at you all in California and Colorado and saying, you all are crazy. We don't do that. They have limits on THC in Amsterdam. Did you know that? They only have certain hours they're open. They have no advertising allowed, explicitly disallowed. They have warning labels at the very least, and we need warning labels. Today's marijuana increases your risk of psychosis and schizophrenia 5 times. It's the #1 drug for suicides in Colorado and in all of the legal states. It's the #1 drug for psychiatric illness and mental illness. It's the #1 reason why young people are in treatment in this country. It's 700,000 people going to the ER every single year because they're uncontrollable vomiting or a psychotic break. So yeah, they have warning labels over there, what they're doing. And what they're doing in California is just letting them in with wide open arms, rolling out the red carpet, as if we didn't already learn the lessons from 100 years of big tobacco lying to us, saying smoking was healthy. They're only targeting adults. It's not connected to cancer. It's not addictive. So they're liars, absolutely, liars. That's what they were and are. And you even have, if this is so poetic, the former CEO of the company who brought us OxyContin, guess what business he's in? All of a sudden he cares about cancer because he's in the medical marijuana business. So folks, wake up if you don't understand that this is about money and nothing more than that. It's not about relief. It's about guys like this determining the brands of the future and laughing all the way to the bank. As tobacco use has declined in this country, marijuana use has skyrocketed, and the tobacco companies couldn't be happier. As alcohol has essentially been the same number of people who have been daily or near daily drinkers in this country, which is only about 10% of all drinkers. Now, there are more daily users of marijuana than daily drinkers in this country. That's an incredible number. Look at that skyrocketing in the last 5 years. No researcher would have ever thought that this could have happened. This is not what happens in data charts. And I've been looking at them for a long time. This is not what happens. Almost a 2,000% increase since the 90s. So I don't really care if you're using weed once a month or whatever. This isn't about once a month. This isn't about an adult smoking a joint on their farmland and no one else can smell it and they do it, on their birthday once a year to have fun. This isn't about that, folks. This is about addicting a new generation of customers. And you all need to help us stop it. Will you do that? Will you do that? So, good old American innovations, why we have 99% THC, thank you very much. Why we have addictions increased, because it's not the old joints, it's all these products. It's kid-friendly, potent, aggressive marketing. And by the way, contaminants, all those people who say, well, at least I know what I'm getting. No, you don't. No, you don't. Those labs are all bought by who? The marijuana industry. The labs that are supposed to test it. These aren't FDA-approved labs. This is an illegal drug. In case we forgot, the federal government has not legalized this. It's completely illegal. Schedule 1. Even if it's rescheduled, it's still going to be illegal. These labs can't, so these are basically fake labs brought on by states who have to pretend they know what they're doing because their state was duped by an industry who promised all this money falling from the sky. And they fight regulation at every single turn. We've tried to even work with them, as naively as that is. We've said, all right, we get it. You legalize it in wherever, Colorado. Can we at least put a cap on THC? No. Can we at least have some kind of pledge that you won't advertise? No. We're letting them get away with everything. And we would never let any industry get away with any of this stuff. So the potency has skyrocketed. The products that are out there are nothing like what used to be out there. So I don't care if you use marijuana even a few years ago. If you didn't use in the last year this stuff, it's not the same drug. You use the old stuff. A lot of people say, I can't talk about this because I used to use it. No, that's why you can talk about it. And also, it wasn't the stuff that's out there right now. 30% of people, 1 in 3 of those who used marijuana in the last year actually now follow the criteria of addiction. 30% addicted. We'll take questions in a minute. So the mental health concerns, the psychosis, the schizophrenia, the reduction in IQ, 30%, just look at this, 30% of cases of schizophrenia among men 21 to 30, according to the best research in the world, might have been prevented if they did not use marijuana. 30%. There's no other drug like this. Not meth, not alcohol, not even genetically inclined to have schizophrenia. These are levels we've never seen. Obviously, it's hurting us in other public health ways. It's hurting us in driving. It's hurting us in all kinds of things. So I'm going to go to the end here. But the poison calls, the workforce issues, all of this are things that I think we need to be very. And guess what happened? The drug dealers did not go away. I thought they were all going to go to med school or something if we legalized, or law school maybe, if we legalized. That's what they said. They said, you get rid of the drug dealers. People will buy from the legitimate market. No, they won't. The drug dealers love it. They get to hide their activities under the guise of legality, folks. They get to stay open with zero regulations, with 0 hour restrictions, with 0 taxes paid. And they get to undercut the legal price. It's simple economics. So in all of these states, the underground market's actually getting worse, not better. The underground market is ballooning in these states. So this is why we get foreign cartel activity. I mean, we could go on and on. The driving issue, huge. We'll leave all of these slides for you. And there's no social justice, folks. The pot shops are all concentrated in poor communities of color. They're concentrated in places that already have liquor stores, payday loans at the low interest rate of 27% a day. No place to buy vegetables and fruits. That's where they're concentrated. They're reducing real estate. They're increasing crime. They're selling to kids. They were told that we won't sell to kids. Drug dealers don't ID, Kevin. That's what they said. That was a line they used, just like the safer than alcohol line. And instead, that's not happening, and we're not minting any black millionaires, I hate to tell you. That's what we were told. We were told the people who suffered the war on drugs will make the money. Black and Latinos will be making the money. They're not making the money. You know who's making the money? Guys that look like me. That's who's making the money. That's not social justice. That's social injustice. So the point is we see crime at dispensaries go up. The tax revenue is a drop in the bucket. It's less than 1% in all of these states. It's not paying for all these things. And actually, when you ask people in public opinion, the majority of localities don't even want these in their community. It's weird because they voted for it on a state level, but they're like, no, I don't want that here. Do it over there. And so the poorer communities and the most disenfranchised are getting them. So we have a lot of work to do. I'm going to go forward with this. There's a lot of things we can do to stop advertising. There's a lot of things we can do to stop drug driving. If you want resources, please scan this. You can link. We have a daily news digest of all the best news headlines, the top 10 news headlines twice a week in the drug field, the whole drug field, if you're interested. But we need your help in states. We need your voice to help. If you saw the panel earlier, I was talking about it. Please sign up. Please help us in your state advocate for good drug policy, because there are a lot of people that are getting paid a lot of money to say some really slick talking points about how drug use is safe. All we need to do is extreme harm reduction. We do not need to focus on recovery housing. In fact, we should allow drug use to happen within recovery housing. Yeah, they are saying that. Is that a good idea? Of course not. So we need you to hold up that model so that we can give everybody a life worth living. Thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. And I don't know if we have any time for questions or not, but thank you so much. It means a lot. Thank you very much. I'm not sure if, I think there's a mic. I don't know, that's not a mic. I don't know if where there is a mic, but I'm happy to answer. Oh, there's a mic in the back? Right over there. Oh yeah, right over there, okay. So if you have any questions, I think we have a few minutes left. Happy to take them.
Is this on?
Yes.
Awesome.
Is it on?
Hey.
Yes. Sorry, if you guys can keep it down so we can hear the questions.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much. My head is spinning with all the questions I want to ask you, but this is the one. On Tuesday, in the USA Today, there was an article about gabapentin and how it's now it's the sixth most prescribed drug in the U.S.
Yeah.
It was intended for nerves, and now they're administering it for pain, and it's becoming highly addictive. What do you think?
Well, look, every week there's going to be a different drug, every month, every year. There's going to be a different drug that's going to be abused. There are legitimate uses of that drug, and there are illegitimate uses, like all kinds of drugs. And so, I mean, we have a problem in this country. We don't even educate our doctors on what addiction is. So, sure, we have a problem. I mean, we're getting better at that. I have to give our federal officials some credit. We've gotten much better in the last 10 years with that, but we need a lot more education in the medical community about all of these kinds of drugs, because we're in a country, the only country in the world, that has advertising for pharmaceuticals. That tells you, as someone, or me, or you, who did not go to medical school, we're supposed to tell our doctor that we heard about some drug that can help us. So we need more medical education. That's just an example of it. There are legitimate and illegitimate uses. Thanks.
Now,
Hey,
one more question, a follow-up? I'm sorry. Do you think that if they would collect income or revenue tax from it, we could implement some of those restrictions?
No, I don't think so. And revenues, we never use it towards, we don't never, but we don't ever, we have not had a good record of using revenue towards those purposes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Next question.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I feel compelled to say this, not as a member of Oxford House, but more as like an addict. I really like what you had to say. I even agreed with quite a lot of it. Marijuana happens to be my DOC, and yeah, my life was absolutely ruined by it. What you're talking about, 99% concentrate, all that stuff, I really agree with. Something I do want to bring up, though, is a tradition of AA, NA, and I think a lot of the A's, and I know it's not a tradition of Oxford House, is that we have no opinion on outside issues. And the reason we have that is because anything that could potentially drive away a newcomer, anything, even if everyone in this room agrees with you, if there's one person that doesn't, that could potentially drive them out of this room, get disenfranchised. Like, it's sort of the point of a lot of these meetings, is that everyone is welcome. We do not talk about opinions, and that we do not share opinions, because opinions kill people. I just feel compelled to make that statement.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's it.
No, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for telling us that. I completely agree.
I'm Zach. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I can't speak for the rest of the country, but I know, being new to the recovery process, there are a lot of, we hear these like arbitrary numbers getting thrown around, like $1.6 billion added to whatever these taxes, or what these recovery centers are supposed to be nonprofits. And in my personal experience in the New Orleans area, and government in general, is not really to be, how can I say this, trusted.
Yeah.
And that, how do we know that those funds that are being allocated for what they're supposed to be used for, utilized as troops on the, we are the troops on the ground trying to make this work better. How can we get access to either information or services?
You got to go to your state drug abuse director's office website. They are compelled, they work for you, they get paid by tax dollars. They are compelled to tell you what they do with all of the federal money that they're getting and the state money they're getting, and they have to take a meeting with you. Maybe not the director, but their staff has to do that. So they answer to you, that's what you have to do.
Heard.
Thank you.
I'm Cody from Prescott, Arizona.
Last question. All right, this is the last question, make it good.
All right, so in my
No
community, we tend to have, we're a big recovery community in Prescott, Arizona, and the vast majority of our treatment centers don't take our state-funded insurance. And I know for a fact that I didn't have a private insurance, so what type of policies can we get in play to either require treatment centers to take that, or to have more options for those of us?
It's a huge issue with insurance. My colleague Patrick Kennedy's been working on it. If you go to the kennedyforum.org, there's a lot of information about that and those policies, but we absolutely need to demand insurance to treat, finally, once and for all, diseases of the brain is the same way as the diseases for the rest of the body. And we have to do that. There's no excuse for it in the richest country in the world when insurance companies are raking in billions. why they wouldn't cover something that pays in dividends, because every dollar they put towards it is going to save society $12. It's time we put their feet to the fire on it. It is actually the law now, thanks to President Biden, and actually thanks to President George W. Bush. It was the last law he ever signed before leaving, the Parity Act with Patrick Kennedy. We got to hold their feet to the fire with all of you. Thank you all so much for everything. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Please, let's give Kevin another round of applause. We've been very happy and excited to have him attend our convention this year, as well as when he came the first time, I believe, in 2019. And I certainly, I'm sure along with you, enjoy your enthusiasm and how you're driving our membership to really get involved and drive policy. So thank you again, Kevin, and please, let's give him another round of applause. I apologize, we couldn't have more questions and answers, but I believe that he may have shared his contact information, so please feel free to reach out. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer and assist in anything further. I know it's warm. I want to let you know that the waterfall that was recently installed in the hotel, unfortunately, was not a new feature. It was a pipe that operates the air conditioner. Just our luck, huh? So maintenance is on site. They are in the process of fixing it. So I don't have a time frame. They haven't given us that, but they are addressing it. So with that being said, I know we're going to try to get through this, try to get through the Directors Awards and get your pictures taken so that we can get you out and cooled off in the pool. And then hopefully by the time you come back in for the drag show, the AC will be working. Also, let you know that at the central office desk, prior to the drag show, they'll be able to make change for you, so you can tip the performers. All right, now comes, all right, ladies and gentlemen, the faster we can get through this, the faster we get out of here. Meeting going on. So now comes a favorite time of mine and one of the old times of Paul's where he would give you 3 minutes to make your speech. So the Oxford House World Council is an advisory council made up of Oxford House members and alumni members who serve staggered 3-year terms. Each year at the convention, members and alumni vie for open seats on the World Council. This year, the Oxford House will elect 6 House members, 3 members for a 3-year voting term, which will end in 2027, 1 for a 1-year term, and 2 members for a 1-year alternate House member term ending in 2025. Alumni will also elect 2 alumni members, 1 for a 3-year voting term to end in 2027, and 1 for an alternate member ending in 2025. So to ensure national representation, Oxford House members from Oregon, Washington, Texas, Colorado, Virginia, and Oklahoma were not eligible to run this year, and alumni from Alabama and Kansas are not eligible. House members who move out before their term ends must resign from the council. So we had several people sign up. So at this time, as I call you up, if you'll come up and stand, and then we'll do your speeches. We have Aaron Hanlon Stradler from Omaha, Nebraska. Thomas McDaniel from Highland Heights, Kentucky. Christian Hoy from Newark, Delaware. Robert Roche from Topeka, Kansas. Aaron Hill from Carthage, Missouri. Carl Gock from Gainesville, Florida. Jasmine Freeman from Asheville, North Carolina. And Brett Amon from Gonzales, Louisiana. Bet y'all didn't think I was going to be able to pronounce that name, did you? All right, Aaron Hanlon from Omaha, Nebraska.
Hi, everyone. My name is Erin Hanlon, and I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. I am a woman in long-term recovery, and for what that means to me is I haven't had a drink or drug since May 6, 2022. I have held every position in my house and am currently the Nebraska Oxford House Chapter 3 Chair and the State Association Treasurer. On August 1st, I was given the opportunity to open my first house, OH Goldenrod. I am running for World Council resident member to take my passion for service work and leadership skills to a whole new level. I demonstrate a commitment and passion for recovery. And I believe in serving as an example that inspires others. I am a woman who was once silenced like many of the women here in this room right now. And thanks to Oxford House, I have gotten my voice and my confidence and a fire for life. We would really like to see Nebraska get on the World Council map. It has not been done before. And with that, just remember, don't be a Karen.
That's pretty good. Thomas McDaniel from Highland Heights, Kentucky.
Man, I was never nervous to sell dope or do dope anywhere, but I've never talked in front of a bunch of people like this. So. 2 days ago, I had no idea what the World Council was. I didn't know when I came to Orlando that there was anything above the state association unless you were, staff. I'm not allowed to be staff. My fiance and I both live in Oxford House, and unfortunately, we're not allowed to. And so I guess this is the next step for me, if you guys are allowing it. Since being in Oxford House, I've became the Kentucky State Chair. I sit there now as the representative for Kentucky. I've held every office in our Chapter 13. I've held every office in the houses. I've opened 3 houses. I'm, thank you. 2 or 3. I know I've lived in 4 or 5, maybe. I don't know. I'm an alumni at 2 other houses, and I do everything in my power to help everybody in recovery. Nobody helped me until I came to Oxford House, so I want to help get as many people off the streets and off the drugs as I can. And it starts with having a safe place to go. So if elected, I will do everything in my power to make sure there's more houses opening where we don't have any. I will do everything in my power to make sure everybody's got a safe place to sleep and a safe place to call home. Thank you.
Christian Hoy from Newark, Delaware.
How we doing? Hello, I'm Christian Hoy from Newark, Delaware. I'm a member of Oxford House Rocco, the best house in Delaware. So Oxford House has been fundamental to my recovery, having served in various capacities, including state fundraising chair, chapter housing service chair, and state chair. And I'm currently the state chair. I'm currently living Oxford House commitment to the motto and traditions. That is, something I'm big on in Oxford House. Our motto sets the standards nationwide. We represent the best in recovery, self-sufficient, self-run, peer-run homes. Together, we personify recovery's resilience. United as a family, the Oxford House World Council continue to show adaptability, and forward thinking. If I'm elected, I promise you, whatever question you have, I'll answer it. And if I don't have that answer, I'll make sure that's my number one priority. You know, the one thing that I'm big on is service work and helping others, especially getting that newcomer involved. Because I remember when I was that newcomer, didn't know anything, but I got involved immediately. You know, I helped open 2 houses. And if my outreach worker had asked me to help open a house in Alaska, I would do it. I will transfer my job, find a new job, I don't care, I'll handle it. But any way I can give back and be of service to Oxford House and help that newcomer, I will do whatever it takes. Because if you help that newcomer, they'll help that newcomer. And it's like COVID, it's contagious. They'll get involved, and those numbers or those fatalities and those members going back out will start to drop. Now, if you're new here, keep coming back. We need you. Get involved. Help that newcomer. Help them. Remember what we're all about. Remember what Oxford House is all about. Just always remember that. That's all I got. I love you guys. Thank you.
Robert Roche from Topeka, Kansas.
Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Roach from Topeka, Kansas, and I am an addict. I feel like I will always identify as an addict, kind of like first line of defense against my own intrusive thoughts. Today, I also identify as a person in long-term recovery who hasn't found it necessary to drink or use since September 15th of 2020. So I moved into Oxford House Shunga in February 5th of 2021. Since then, I have opened a new house. I've started a new chapter. I've been chapter chair. Right now, I'm currently Kansas State Treasurer. And, you know, I've been involved in every aspect of Oxford House. I feel during my journey, you know, I've learned lots of skills that help me grow Oxford House as a whole. You know, I've been to all sorts of treatment centers and detoxes and any type of recovery you can think of. Like, none of it's worked. You know, not until I came to Oxford House, I was able to live around a group of like-minded individuals working towards the same goal. And, you know, I can't help but to want to help this organization grow, you know. If more Oxford houses would have been available 20 years ago, you know, hopefully I wouldn't have had to go through another 20 years of hell. So if you vote for me, I think I can help Oxford House as a whole grow as a, you know, entity. When you go to vote, remember the 5 R's of Oxford: recovery, responsibility, revocation, and Rob Roach.
Aaron Hill from Carthage, Missouri.
What's up, family? Come on, come on. What's up, family? My name's Aaron Hill. I have a clean date of June 15th of 2020. I have held every position in the House. I was Chapter 3 chair, and then I was asked to move across the state and uproot my life to something that needed me there. And I moved to Carthage, Missouri to help open up a brand new house. I'm not that guy that can memorize that manual and know it by heart, but I do know the heart of the manual. And I promise to bring the same energy that you've seen all weekend long, and there's more to come, trust and believe, to the World Council and to serve my family. When I needed Oxford House, somebody picked up that phone. And the conventions that I've gone to and the places that I've been, I've heard over and over again that the council said, we need help. So I'm picking up that phone. I love you guys. Vote Aaron Hill, fits the bill.
Carl Glock from Gainesville, Florida.
Hello. Hello. My name is Carl Gauck. I'm going to be running for World Council. My sobriety date is 5/27/22. And that sobriety date also started when I came into an Oxford house. So I currently hold every position available, like in state. I'm the state treasurer. I'm also in reentry, and I also do chapter services. This goes all the way down through HSC, down to chapter, down to the houses, where after this world event, I'm going to be opening another men's house. But one thing I did want to talk about, I don't know if all of you guys got to make it to the meetings that they were having about the World Council. They have about 5 new subcommittees. These are all going to be relatively brand new. And what I wanted to speak on that is that personally, if elected, I would be extremely excited to be able to work towards something and make these things awesome that these guys are leaving for us. We have a new opportunity to develop in a lot of ways that are brand new to us as an entire country. And I would just like to have the opportunity to seize that availability. So thank y'all for your time.
Jasmine Freeman from Asheville, North Carolina.
What's up, family? Well, I'd be lying if I would say it, I wasn't nervous. So my name's Jasmine Freeman. I'm a grateful addict in recovery. My clean date is July 17th, 2023. I live at Oxford House, Wyoming in Asheville, North Carolina. I currently hold the chairperson position for Chapter 2. Like many addicts in this room, Oxford House has been a big part of my story. Nearly 10 years ago, my mom came to Oxford House, Wyoming after prison. I watched her become whole again and learn how to live with the help of this community and Oxford House. My dad also stayed at Oxford House State Street for a couple of years. Although my parents struggled with addiction most of their lives, with the help of Oxford House and this community, they're still in recovery today. So it wasn't a long shot when I found myself a decade later sitting in a treatment facility trying to figure out what the hell was next for me to do. Do I go back to my old people, places, and things, or do I give Oxford House a shot? I now understand why my mom talked about it so much. She used to drive me crazy. Every time I called her, it was Oxford House this and Oxford House that. She never asked how I was doing. But the truth is, I've never had a support system the way I do now, not even in the military. Not many addicts are fortunate enough to become a part of this amazing community. I'm especially grateful for the Asheville community. When Hurricane Helene came through and ripped our city apart, my community showed up and showed out. From inviting others to stay at their houses to escape the darkness, to pushing cars out of the street that ran out of gas, dropping off supplies, getting each other to meetings, delivering hot meals. Each time I witnessed one of these selfless acts, I got so emotional, the only thing I could think about is how lucky am I to be a part of this community. So I'm running for World Council because I love Oxford House and all it's given me. I love to educate and develop newcomers, helping people find their voices, and most importantly, I love spreading the word to addicts who might not know that we exist. I take any opportunity to learn and grow and to give back, so I'll be honored to be elected to be the World Council Chair. Please pray for Asheville and all the other states affected by Hurricane Helene. Thanks for listening.
And finally, for the members, Brett Amoff from Gonzales, Louisiana.
How y'all doing? So I started in Oxford back in 2018. Back then, I was looking at people like all of us, people that were involved, people that were on the chapter, people on HSC. I thought they were all lame. I thought they were snitches. I thought they were wannabe police. Because back then, all I was looking for was a place to lay my head while I made my next move. And it turned out my next move was just figuring out how to get loaded without getting caught. And that's what I did for 3 years. I would go to treatment, get out, go to Oxford, relapse, and go back to treatment. I would do that 3 or 4 times in 1 year until 2021. I came out from New Orleans to Baton Rouge and got sober, and I found my tribe out there in Baton Rouge, man. And I learned there's a lot more to Oxford than just saving up money and getting your own place. I learned how to accept people as they are. I learned how to deal with multiple personalities that were ever changing. I learned how to hold people accountable, and I learned how to be held accountable and accept that constructive criticism. I had to relearn how to brush my teeth every day and take a bath every day. Learning how to be a responsible adult. I would have never found that if I just went out on my own after just saving up a little bit of money. I don't think I would have found a way to practice these principles in all my affairs without being of service to Oxford. I found a way to give back to my community through Oxford. Man, this has become my tribe. I never knew what my purpose was growing up. I was in the military. I thought I found purpose there. I didn't. I got to be a part of the chapter 7 back in 2022, and I realized that that's where I belong, was by helping others. So I go into these houses and I share my experience. I've learned what characteristics successful houses have, and I've also learned what kind of behaviors lead to houses to be unsuccessful, because I've been that guy on both sides of the coin. I've been a part of houses that were sick mentally, spiritually, financially, and been a part of that rebound, that growth back. And I've been a part of that house that was coming back from a financial crisis and decided one night, hey, why don't we all get together and smoke some crack and throw away all that hard work we did. I know both sides of that. I know the sick houses, I know the successful houses, I know which ones are which. And when I go into these houses to help get them back on the right track, that's what I try to show them. I try to institute a culture of accountability and acceptance of my consequences. That's all I got. That's all I can give y'all if y'all vote me in, man. My name's Brett. Love every one of y'all.
Let's give all your resident candidates another round of applause. I really don't think there's any competition trying to get over Florida's cheer. What you're saying? We're feeling great? All right, now we're going to do alumni. We have Justin Allen from Lincoln, Nebraska. I hope I don't butcher this name. Cherry Van Kuken from San Antonio, Texas. Did I mispronounce it? I did. Sorry. And Brandy Ciano from Shreveport, Louisiana. All right, Justin Allen from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Well, hello everyone. As he said, my name's Justin Allen, and I am a person in long-term recovery. And what that means to me is I have not had a drink or an illicit drug since January 14th of 2022. I moved into Oxford House College View in April of that year, and I still remember my first week being taken to the newcomers orientation, where we were all crammed into a room at a house. They showed us the slideshow, and I learned what it was about, because I had no clue before that. And I realized I had a lot of questions. So I started asking questions. And I realized that I wanted to be involved. I served as the House Secretary and then as the House President. I had the honor to serve as the Chapter 2 chair while the chapter expanded to the point where we had to split. And then I was privileged enough to serve as the brand new chair of the brand new Chapter 5 in Lincoln, Nebraska. I am currently serving as the Nebraska State Association Secretary. And when I moved out, I immediately joined not one, but 2 alumni associations, serving as the Omaha Alumni Secretary and serving as the Lincoln, Nebraska Alumni Chair. Living in Oxford taught me so much about myself, how to be myself. It taught me how to be a leader. One of the most important things about being a leader is when you are truly leading, you are not the one in charge. You are there to support, and you are there to guide. And that is something that I have always embraced and continue to do so. And so, I have to think, the one thing that I am the most proud of, that I have the honor and privilege of, I mentioned newcomers orientation. So Lincoln has grown a lot since then. We no longer have it in houses. We have it in a church that is kind enough to let us use space in their basement. And on the second Wednesday of every month, I host the newcomers orientation in Lincoln, Nebraska, making sure that I give back the opportunities that I was given and that I have the opportunity to continue to guide and be of service. Thank you.
Sherry Van Kyken from San Antonio, Texas.
Hi. Hi. Guys. Okay. Hi, guys. Hi. Good afternoon, everybody. Guys, this is amazing, right? This is a blessing that we get to be here in this amazing place all together, so I just have to say that. My name is Sherry Van Kyken. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and what that means for me is I have been clean and free since the 25th of May of 2018. So I gotta be honest with you, public speaking is not my forte, and I get super nervous and I sweat. And on top of that, my state knows that I'm a really, really big baby when it comes to talking about Oxford House, so I might be in trouble up here, but we're gonna try our best, right? Oh, I'm so nervous. Anyways, okay. So I get emotional because, to be completely honest with you, if I'm being really honest, I should be dead. Right? I should be dead. I shouldn't be up here. The amount of damage that I have done to my body and the amount of substances that I used, I should not be alive. But I get to be up here with y'all, right? I get to be here in this place, and that is a miracle. So when I came into Oxford House, I was a very, very broken person. I thought I was unlovable, and I thought that I didn't deserve, right? And that's a big thing, right? And when the women of Oxford House Ohana accepted me and they said, "Welcome home," that changed my life. Like, and I'm not playing, like my life is completely different than what it used to be. I have held every position in the house. I'm an active alumni member in my area. And I am a regional officer for my state, for the South region of Texas. And the reason that I want to be on the World Council is because I want to change people's lives, right? I want to be of service, and I want to show people that recovery is possible and that you are worthy, no matter what you've done, no matter what people say to you, like, you can do this, right? Like, recovery is possible, and that is why that I want to be part of the World Council. I get to be here with my family, and I want to do something bigger. And I don't know, that's all I got, man.
And last but not least, I'm not sure she needs an introduction, but Brandy Ciano from Shreveport, Louisiana.
Brandy. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic. I have a sobriety date of January 15th, 2012, and for that I'm truly grateful. With that being said, I have over 12 years experience in opening houses, helping chapters open up. I do newcomer orientation now. I've served on the World Council for the past 3 years. We've just created so much stuff now, and I've got the engagement committee now, and I'm so excited I get to go see other people in other states. My family is worldwide. Woo! If you couldn't tell that I love Oxford House with all that I am, see my tattoo? Y'all, Oxford saved my life, and I would like to continue serving so I can show others how to get the life that I've got today. I'm so grateful for Oxford House. If it wasn't for that Oxford House, I wouldn't be standing where I am today. I know we can all say that. Oh my God, somebody's Snapchatting me. Stop.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Before, y'all, Paul Malloy used to say, I can't quote him, but I love Paul Malloy. He was my best friend. And if we can't have fun, he says something about fun and recovery, and I'm grateful that I can show you, I hopefully can show you how to have fun and recovery, and I would like to continue doing so. If you would vote yes for more BS on the World Council, that would be great.
Let's give your alumni candidates another round of applause. So just to remind you, voting will open today at 4 p.m. It is all done online through your phone. I believe the QR codes for voting is on the screen. So 4 o'clock, and it will close tomorrow at noon. All right? One vote per house, and we can sort it, so you can try, but we have ways. All right, I'll hand it over now to Jackson to do the Directors Awards.
Hello, everybody. I'm your favorite person because I stand between you and the pool. Or maybe that makes me the least favorite person. I don't know. Do not mug me. We're going to be in here for just a second. But I want to give recognition to the states, to the houses, to the chapters that have been donating every month to help support Oxford House Inc. Do you know that most organizations that have any kind of chartering or licensing system require a payment to carry a name or to carry a charter or a certification? We don't do any of that. We just ask, would you be willing to, through your democratic process, would you be willing to donate $50 a month from your house to pay it forward to Oxford House Incorporated so that we can help keep the website going, keep our lawyers paid so that we can have houses open in new areas without them trying to kick us out, so that we can expand into areas that maybe don't have the revolving loan fund or maybe don't have a contract for outreach, that need that support to get going. And so many of the houses have stepped up to that call and said, yes, we will donate $50 a month. But only about 30% of you have. That means there's 70% of the houses still out there that have decided they're not willing to give the $50 a month. And if you break it down into an 8-person house, it's really like a quarter a day per member. That's all we're asking. When you go to a 12-step meeting, do you put $1 in the basket? If you have $1, we put $1 in the basket. It's the same concept. We're just paying something forward so that we can help save the next suffering addict and alcoholic that needs the support. It's a tradition one. We want to help those. So go back to your areas and please encourage all the houses to make that donation. If we could get, let's say 90% of the houses to make the donations, we could probably open houses in some of these 4 or 5 states that we don't have any houses in, and maybe even hire some people to do it. All right, so I do have some good news. In years past, we've called a state at a time to get their picture taken. This year, we're going to call 2 states at a time. We have some states that are highly represented here, and we have some states that don't have quite as many people here. We love everybody that's here. It doesn't matter how big or how small your state is. We love everybody. But we want to bring some of the smaller states up over here to stage right so that you can get a group picture. The bigger states, we're going to send out the doors all the way around to the rotunda, the octagon, and there will be a photographer there that will get you on a set of stairs to try to take a really good picture of you where we can see everybody's face in your matching t-shirts, okay? And so I'm gonna call these out, and I'm gonna ask everybody to just please bear with me. We're gonna get through this, I promise, as quickly as we can, but it's very important, number one, that we recognize the states and the houses that are donating. That's what this is about. This is about the Director's Award. We need to honor those that are donating. It's a big deal. The second part is we want to archive your presence at the convention, especially your unity within your state, so that you can get a group photo. So without any further explanation, I know everybody is hot. I see all the fans. I will say one thing. Somebody that was running for World Council missed an opportunity. If you would have come with those fans with your name on it or your face on it, oh, you would have won, hands down. It would have been a landslide. All right, so let's get to it. The first state, this is the state that's going to go outside, and here's how it's going to work. Ashley Mangus, give it up for Ashley. Outreach in Oklahoma. She had a team that put together all of these certificates in order, so they're ready to go. I need one representative, preferably the state chair or somebody from the state association, one person to come up to get the awards and then go with your state to take the picture, okay? So you got to figure out from your state who's coming up to get the award. We don't want everybody coming up here. So the big state, all right, and a hush went over the crowd. And a hush went over, there we go. We're getting good at that, okay. The first big state, Alabama. Alabama, you're gonna go out into the hall and around to get your picture. Bring one person up to get the awards. The small state, Arkansas. Do we have a representative from Arkansas here? We do not. Let's give it up for Arkansas. They had one award. Lance Whitney, come get the award for Arkansas. So there's going to be a little bit of delay, right? This chanting is something else. There's going to be a little bit of a delay as the states are making their way out the door. This is my opportunity to filibuster a little bit. Filibuster, just try to fill the room. I know you guys, this is tough. This is a tough room with the heat. Hey, I will say this, though. I'm super impressed that you all have stuck it out in this room in the heat, supporting the candidates, giving their speeches, supporting our keynote speaker, Kevin Sabat, being a good representative for your state. You guys stuck it out. I can tell you that with the AC issue, it's one of those things, we say the serenity prayer, and we do. We pray to accept the things we cannot change. That's where we're at. That is where we're at right now. We're just going to have to accept that the hotel's doing the best they can to get the AC fixed as quickly as possible. The next big state, Arizona. Where's Arizona at? I hear him, but I don't see him. Where's Arizona at? I can't see him. I don't know. I can't see him. I hear him. Oh, they're camouflage. That's why. The small state is going to be California. Where's California at? Small state's going to come up here. California. Alabama had 26 houses donate. Arkansas had 1. Arizona had 84 houses donate. California, we're still working on getting a house to donate. But they're here. Show some love for California. It's tough in California. They have a whole different terminology for what sober means in California. Just ask Demi Lovato, right? All right, as Arizona makes their way out of the room, we're going to go to the next group, the big state, Colorado. Colorado had 76 houses donate. Colorado, send one person up, and you guys can make your way outside to the octagon. And that's not the UFC octagon. We're not fighting out there. It's the Rotunda octagon. The small state is going to be Connecticut. We have 3 people here from Connecticut. Where are they at? Come on up to the front, Connecticut. We're glad Connecticut's here. We need more houses in the Northeast. Yeah. All right, Colorado's making their way out of the room. What do you guys think of the convention so far? Ezra, you want to come up here with me? Come here, Ezra. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Say, I love you.
I love you.
Okay. All right. That's the joy of recovery right there. All right, they've made their way out of the room. The next big state is Illinois with 39 donations. Where's Illinois at? No, Illinois they have 50 delegates, 39 donations. Send one person up, and then you can make your way out for a photo. And then we're going to combine 2 areas, DC and Maryland. We want you to come up together up front. Where's DC and Maryland? See, we're working through these a lot faster. How many of you have been to a convention before? This is going a lot faster, right? We're going to get out of here so we can jump in the pool. And everybody's going to be appropriate in the pool, right? Does everybody have appropriate attire for the pool? I can only imagine what some of y'all brought to wear at the pool. Yeah, it will be on social media, I'm sure. Somebody will capture it. All right, Illinois is making their way out. DC and Maryland, if they come up to the front. All right, let's call the next big state. The next big state is Indiana with 64 donations. Yeah. Indiana, send one representative up to grab the certificates. The small state is Delaware. There's Delaware back in the corner. Delaware, you're going to bring everybody up. Get a group picture in the front. And while they're doing that, I just want to remind everybody, there is some food too that's going to start at 5 o'clock. It's going to be right inside from that terrace area in the Gatlin Ballroom, down the stairs on the opposite side of the rotunda. There'll be some food for you. You can eat. There'll be some limited seating inside. There'll be some seating outside. I imagine it's pretty hot and humid outside, but if you want to go sit outside. I know Florida's going to have some games. Florida has provided some games that's going to be in the foyer space. They also have some pool toys like beach balls and stuff out there. We're going to have a DJ. We are going to have a good time this afternoon. Indiana's making their way out of the room. We got Delaware on their way up.
Yeah, Delaware's going right here. I don't think DC, Maryland came over here.
Okay. Okay. So go ahead and make plans for Labor Day weekend of next year. If you don't know, let me tell you. Next year, Labor Day weekend, we're going to have our World Convention at National Harbor, the Marriott, the Gaylord. And it is the 50th anniversary of Oxford House. And we are going to go all out to celebrate 50 years for Oxford House. More than this, we're going to do some extra things that we've never done at a convention before. That's all I'm going to tell you. All right, the next big state, Kentucky. Send one person up to the front. That's a chant. The small state is Georgia. Let's give it up for Georgia. I want to give a special shout out to Georgia. They have really come together and opened up some houses without any formal in-state support from OHI. We haven't got any official funding. I know the neighboring states have really helped them out, and South Carolina included, but we're so glad Georgia's here. Let's give it up for Georgia. Okay. I'm competing with Florida here. That's not fair. I'm only one person, they're 400. Did you know the first World Convention did not even have as many people as Florida brought to this one? Wait, there's somebody with the mask. Who's got the flower mask on? Come up here. Come here. Come here. Come up here. Hey, Alex, put the camera on. Alex, put the camera on me. Come up to the microphone. This is sunshine right here. Yeah, introduce yourself.
What is it?
Introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Taylor. I'm from Pensacola, Florida. Vote for Carol.
It's just, you never know what you're going to see at an Oxford House World Convention. It's incredible. We got unicorns, we got sunflowers. I do want to give since Florida is demanding so much attention right now, I do want to give a reminder that some of our very large states are going to have to wait till the very end because we may have to take your picture outside. Well, I mean, we could try to take it inside and not get everybody in the shot. I mean, we're trying to do a favor to get all of you together. So Florida, Kansas, Texas, and I think Washington are going to have to wait. See? There's the gratitude I'm looking for. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Washington. Thank you. All right. The next big state's Louisiana with 121. We dat out there. The small states, Hawaii. Come on, Hawaii. Where's Hawaii at? There we go. So after we go to DC, we already have our next 2 cities, non-DC cities. No, I'll ask them to take it with them. Yeah, some of you are leaving coffee cups and stuff behind. When you get up to leave, take your trash with you. Yeah, take your trash with you. So the next 2 cities that are not DC cities, we already are contracted. In 2026, we're going to be in Denver, Colorado. That'll be fun. There's a water park at the hotel. And in 2028, we will be in Nashville, Tennessee, where there is also a water park at the hotel. We just want y'all to be around water for the next few years, huh? Just don't jump at the Potomac next year. All right, the next big state with 33 donations, the state of Missouri. Hey, Missouri, show me how quick you can make it out to the rotunda. We're dying in here. We're dying in here. The small state that we want to bring up, Idaho. Idaho has 5 donations. They're a small state. That's a big deal. 5 donations from a new state. We're very... Washington showing love for Idaho. That's what that is, right? The little brother. I know. Yeah. All right, Missouri's making their way out. I'm going to go ahead and call the next state. We're going to keep it moving. Keep it moving. The next big state. Now listen up. This is 141 donations. The state of North Carolina. North Carolina, send up one person to get this big pack of certificates. And you can make your way out to the rotunda. I just like saying that word, rotunda. I have no idea what it looks like out there, how long that line is. Is everybody hanging in there with me? No? I see Ned shaking like, no, we're done. Just hang in there with me. We're getting close. We're getting close. Man, I'm standing up here under these lights. I know. I feel you. I'm gonna take my glasses off. They keep sliding down my face. Oh wait, then I can't see who's in the back of the room. All right, North Carolina's making their way out. The next large state with 101 donations, Oklahoma. Send one up, the state chair. Hey, William, Aaron Vick, why is there no chant? There's no chant for Oklahoma? Y'all need a chant. They don't need a chant. They stand alone on principle. Those are good-looking delegate shirts, though, Oklahoma. The small state is Maine. We don't have anybody here from Maine, but they do have a house that donated. Oklahoma is making their way out. I don't see any more North Carolina. That's what I love about the matching shirts. I can tell when you guys are out of the room because the color's gone. We need more brighter colors. Like, we got bright colors here, dark, dark, dark. We got too many dark colors. Next year, everybody go neon. Okay, it's after 4 o'clock. You can actually vote for World Council now. All right, the next big state with 40 donations is the state of Oregon. Send one person up. And Oregon can be Oregon. Okay, I have an important announcement. And a hush went over the crowd. Important announcement. We want to respect that we're not the only ones in the hotel. There is a board meeting going on in one of the smaller rooms near where we're taking pictures in the rotunda. So the big groups, when you go out there, try to keep your voices down with the chanting and the hollering. We're interrupting the board meeting, okay? Can we do that? Let's wait till we get out to the pool area, and then we can be as loud as we want out there. Okay? Deal? You guys want to hear a joke? You guys want to hear a joke? How many addicts does it take to change a light bulb? It doesn't matter. The light bulb just has to have the willingness to change. Boo. All right. How many addicts does it take to change a light bulb? Change? Tough crowd. You act like it's 80 degrees in here or something, Jesus. I will tell you one thing, if you thought about, going on Ozempic or any of those weight loss medication, all you got to do is just come to an Ox House World Convention. You'll get your steps in, you'll be in a giant sauna for 2 hours. Yeah, you won't have to worry about it. Everybody's going to lose 5 pounds this week just because we sweated everybody out of the room. All right, the next big state, South Carolina, with 31 donations. Were you not listening earlier? And then the small state with 2 is Mississippi. Where's Mississippi at? Come on, Mississippi. We love you, Mississippi. South Carolina's making their way out. Please remember to keep your voice down when you're getting your picture taken. Yeah, we're getting through it. This is going to be record time. I know, just bear with me. I'm hot too. Huh? Do y'all feel cold air? Or am I just delirious? Are we delirious? Let me ask this a serious question. Is everybody doing okay? No, like for real, like everybody doing okay? We have water outside, like if you need hydration, move around a little bit, like it's okay. We don't want anybody to risk their health. Yes, I actually do need water. I'm not okay. Not okay. I don't know whose water that is. Okay. Somebody left a phone. We're going to take it to Lost and Found. They can pick it up later. It's a black smartphone. There you go. Thank you, Ashley. All right, the next big state. With 46 donations. Who are we? Who are we? Tennessee, send somebody up. It's who are we exiting? Who are we exiting? I have my moments. Somebody's trying to call this phone, but it's locked. I can't answer it. Oh, can I answer it? Hello? Who is this? Craig, is this your phone? Greg, I have your phone. There is a ransom for your phone. It'll be $20 at the main stage to get your phone back. Okay, bring the money. The small state is Nebraska. 28 donations. Are they saying go Big Red or we're corn fed? Yeah, come up to the front to get your picture taken. I actually spent every summer in Nebraska on the farm with my grandparents. I love Nebraska. I know all about Go Big Red. I know all about them black shirts. Okay, the next big state with 149 donations, the great state of Virginia. And they have a slogan, I don't know, it's the state of love or the love me state, lover state. We love Virginia. For real, is there cold air coming in? They're gonna get the AC working and we're gonna be out of here. At least it'll be cool for in the morning though. Or the drag show, really. It'll be cool for the drag show. How many of y'all are coming back to the drag show? Y'all gotta bring some dollar bills. I've been seeing y'all sling money at the raffle table and the t-shirt tables. Bring some dollar bills. It's a real live drag show with celebrity participants that have won awards. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. We're gonna clear these monitors and there's gonna be a runway. We're gonna clear the tables to have a stage. It's a big deal. All right, Nebraska's getting their picture. Virginia, they're making their way out of the room. The next small state that's going to come up after Nebraska with 58 donations is New Jersey. Where's Jersey? Where's my Jersey? New Jersey. Forget about it. Raise your hand, New Jersey. There they are, way back there. Come on up, come on up. You're coming up here. Oh, to hold? All right, Nebraska's got their photo. New Jersey's coming up to get theirs. What's up, New Jersey? Hold on, we're getting another call. Hello? Do what? I have your phone? Yeah, this is your phone? No, this is my phone. I found this phone. Yeah, I found this phone. Would you like your phone back? Okay, if you come to the main stage with $20, I'll give you your phone back. Just come to the podium, I'll give you your phone back. In the ballroom, come to the podium. Okay, we'll see you. I thought I was clear about that, right? Jersey? All right. Okay, Nebraska. We hear you. We hear you. Is this your phone? No. All right, now we're to the really big states. We're down to 4 big states and a handful of small states. So the first big state with 220 donations is Washington. Well, don't just stand there. Make your way out of the room. It's so hot up here. All right, the next small state's New Mexico. New Mexico with 7 donations. The enchanted land, right? Yes. Thank you. All right, I just got confirmation the AC is back on. After New Mexico is going to be New York. Where's New York at? New York, we're waiting on the donations. They're going to come next year. We know they are. They're already signed up to do it. They just got to get the whole calendar year in. So we know they're coming. So you can come up to the front, get ready for your photo. We love that you're here in force. New York is growing. Watch out for New York. Has Washington made it out of the room yet? They have, I believe. The next big state with 162. This is a huge jump from last year. 162 donations. Texas. Deep in the heart of the rotunda. All right, remember to keep your voices down out in the rotunda area. Hey, Florida, just listen to me real quick. I know y'all are being very patient, and I thank you. I do have a treat to share with y'all. I don't know if they got the word out. At the pool, there are 6 cabanas. Florida gets 4 of them. So when you're looking at the pool from the not from the convention side, from the restaurant side, the market side, there's the first 2 on the left. There's going to be one for OHI staff and one for the other able, and then you will get the other 4. So they're not real big, and you got a lot of people, so you figure out who goes in them, but you got 4 that you can sit at and enjoy, okay? So you will get a little extra for helping to sponsor the Friday night event. We thank you for raising as much money as you did so that we can have fun at this hotel on a Friday night. Thank you, Florida. All right, the next small state is Ohio. Come on up, Ohio. Come up here and get your picture. In Ohio, we need to see some houses making donations next year. You guys got some donating, right? We got some in the books. They're coming. All right. And I want to say something special about this next state. This next state has gone above and beyond working to get houses to donate on a regular basis. They started coming in a huge flood over the spring, which means next year they're going to have a huge number of houses that are donating. But Kansas has stepped up to the plate. Kansas, for real, Kansas, I'm proud of you guys. You guys are working hard. We don't have anybody here from Pennsylvania, but they did have a house that donated. The next small state is South Dakota. We have a few here from South Dakota. Where are they at? Come on up, South Dakota. And you're going to have some houses next year that are on the donation list, right? All right. And followed up behind South Dakota is Wisconsin with 14. 14. And then after Wisconsin is West Virginia. Where's West Virginia? Come on up behind Wisconsin, line up behind Wisconsin. And so that leaves really only one state left. Puerto Rico. Wait, no. We saved the best for last. Not only has Florida set a record with the most delegates ever at a world convention, but they're also setting a record with the fastest rate of growth in the history of Oxford House. And 92 houses that donated. So get your award, one person get the award, and you all can make your way out to the rotunda. And I believe that covers every state. Did I miss anybody? All right, my job is done. Thank you.
Did Wisconsin and West Virginia come up?
Yes, they're in line.